One of the most colorful rivalries in college football, the battle between Tennessee and Kentucky, comes with the Vols on a 6-game series winning streak as Andy Kelly and Carl Pickens hooked up for 3 TD passes last year in Knoxville. Johnny Majors and company look primed as usual in November as an ever-improving defensive front line combines with quarterback Andy Kelly, who continues his assault on the Vols' passing records today in the battle for the beer barrel. Last week's near upset of Florida by Kentucky was news around the SEC as freshman Pookie Jones regained his confidence, accounting for nearly 300 yards. As Jones goes, so go the Wildcats, as Kentucky looks for an upset in their season finale. The battle for the beer barrel next. Live from Lexington, Kentucky, TBS Sports is proud to continue our 8th consecutive season of SEC football. Today, we're at Commonwealth Stadium as the Kentucky Wildcats host the 12th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Hello, everybody. Along with Tim Foley, this is Bob Neal. Not a bad day today. It's 57 degrees at game time. Sunshine. It's supposed to get a little colder, but overall a good day for football here in Lexington, Kentucky. And the University of Kentucky definitely disappointed in their football season at 3-7 this year. But I know last week they picked up a modicum of optimism and of confidence. They were down 28-3 to Florida, the SEC champions, came back to pull to within 28-26 before losing, and that's got to give them a little bit of a lift coming into the Tennessee game.
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. They looked deep into the abyss against Florida, and they're down, as you said, 28-3, and looking a blowout right in the face. And I think Bill Curry has to be encouraged with the way his team responded to that situation. They came up with some big plays on defense, shut down Florida 6 consecutive possessions, and then turned out some big plays on offense. And on offense, the big plays are going to come from Pookie Jones, the redshirt freshman quarterback, who, of course, leads the team in passing and is only 7 yards shy of leading the team in rushing. And he's got to produce some big plays this afternoon, and he's going against a solid Tennessee defense, but one that has a propensity to surrender yardage in larger chunks. So he may have an opportunity to do that here today.
Kentucky may have to surrender some large chunks, too. They're facing a big play Tennessee offense. Andy Kelly pulls the trigger. Great wide receiver in Pickens, and they have even more weapons.
Yes, and the staff at Tennessee has done a wonderful job on offense. It's hard to imagine that they graduated 9 seniors coming into this year. And Andy Kelly has just been the masterful general, poised at all times, holds almost every passing record at Tennessee now. They've got a couple of true freshman running backs that have combined for over 1,200 yards. And, of course, when you're throwing the football, you got to stop Carl Pickens. I mean, he's a guy that's leading the SEC in passing yardage.
And he announced this week, Carl Pickens did, that he's going to go into the NFL draft next year. And the way he's played this year, you might think he's ready, even though he's a junior this year.
Oh, I think he's got a lot of potential and ability, but, you know, he played defense in high school, and he hasn't had that much experience as a wide receiver. He'll learn a lot next year if he goes into the NFL.
We'll be back with Tennessee and Kentucky in just a moment, but right now, let's get our insider report with Paul Wright.
Outstanding student.
You're listening to My Old Kentucky Home, being played by the University of Kentucky Marching Band as the graduating seniors from the University of Kentucky Wildcat team were honored and recognized right before the ball game began. You're looking at 71, Greg Lahr, and there was number 56, Derek Thomas. Some other seniors, Joey Couch, will be playing their last game here at Lexington at Commonwealth Stadium. Sellout crowd expected here today. A lot of people from Tennessee. All those tickets were used up as it's not all that far from Knoxville. The folks made their way north on I-75, and Bill Curry leads out his 3-7 Kentucky Wildcats. The Wildcats have struggled this year, but talking to Bill Curry yesterday, he sees a bright future, likes his young players, and thinks that this program is on its way up. They played very well after being down 28-3 to Florida last week down in Gainesville. So the Wildcats always play well at home and will offer Tennessee everything they can handle. Just ask Johnny Majors if you don't believe me. Johnny Majors said, you can poo-poo Kentucky today, but I'm not going to do it. Johnny Majors, the Tennessee coach, in his 15th year with the Volunteers, 109 victories. He is 11-3 versus Kentucky. We'll be back in just a moment. Wildcats and Volunteers from Commonwealth Stadium right after this. Commonwealth Stadium. University of Kentucky won the toss, and they will receive. I told you before, it's a nice day for football. 57 degrees at kickoff time. There are the deep backs for Kentucky. Number 7, Neil Clark, and number 27, Clyde Rudolph. Rudolph's been injured much of the year, but he is a big play player, and you'll be seeing a lot of him in today's game at tailback. It's 57 at kickoff time. The winds could be a factor today. You see 15 to 20 miles an hour, and they're supposed to pick up as the afternoon goes along. The last time Kentucky beat Tennessee here at Commonwealth Stadium was 1981. Kentucky last defeated Tennessee in 1984. That happened in Knoxville. Looking at the beautiful University of Kentucky campus, Joey Chapman setting up the ball. As you see, the wind already a problem for Chapman. This is the 11th time he's teed up the football. It's brisk down on the field. So Tennessee, with their record of 7-2, are 3-2 in the SEC. And Tim, I think you have to admit, Tennessee is disappointed in their season, even though they're headed to the Fiesta Bowl.
I think they felt coming into the year that they had the talent to go undefeated in the SEC, something that Florida was able to accomplish this year. But with losses to Florida and Alabama, they're happy with the Fiesta Bowl, but I think they felt it could have been a better year.
They finally have to hold the ball for kickoff because of the wind. This is Neil Clark. An outstanding return for Neil Clark all the way to the 40-yard line. Little 5'9" senior out of Paducah putting a cap on his career. A kickoff return of 32 yards. He was tackled by 36 Mark Fletcher. Pookie Jones steps out there. Pookie Jones has thrown for 922 yards, rushed for 284 yards, and is 6th in the league in total offense. He is the man who makes it happen for Kentucky, whether he runs it or throws it. Got a pretty good arm and made a couple of nice passes last week in that game against Florida. Out of the shotgun, Pookie Jones open, 1st and 10 from the 40. He opens up going to the air. Almost picked off. He threw that right into the arms of Darryl Hardy. I think it surprised Darryl Hardy as much as it did us. The Dr. Pepper starting lineups for Kentucky. In the backfield, Dale C., a senior, starting at the fullback spot, but primarily you'll see Terry Samuels in there and Craig Walker, also a fullback. At tailback, you'll be seeing Rudolph and Collins most of the day. Neil Clark has 46 catches. That's a Kentucky record on the year. Greg Larr starting his final game at right tackle for the University of Kentucky. And Bill Curry said Greg Larr had his best game of the season last week against Florida. This is 2nd down 10. Pookie Jones going to tuck it in and run it. He gets about 4 yards, just shy of the 45-yard line. Sean Walker make the stop. The Dr. Pepper lineups on defense for the University of Tennessee. A lot of seniors on this defensive team. Chuck Smith, the pass rusher, he has 8 sacks on the season. The linebackers are solid across the board. Ernest Fields, leading tackler, 98 total tackles on the year. And in the secondary, David Bennett will be starting in place of the injured Roderick Lewis, and Dale Carter, an all-star performer at the free safety spot. 3rd down, let's call it 3rd down 5 for the Wildcats. In the I formation this time. Handoff goes to Craig Walker. 1st down, Wildcats across midfield. Fields and Walker with a stop for Tennessee.
It's the last game for here in Commonwealth Stadium for some of the Kentucky seniors, as you pointed out, Bob. Greg Larr, one of them, 31 consecutive starts.
First down, Kentucky.
With Walker playing tailback, they've had a lot of injuries at tailback. Rudolph Hood, Carlos Collins at times, but they're going to get a lot more, I think, more power. They won't have as much speed and quickness from the tailback position, but more straight-ahead power.
Dale C. gets the carry. The fullback gets 5 yards. Dale C. with very little playing time. He had only 9 carries coming into this game. He's starting because he's a senior out of Cincinnati.
You have to slow down this Tennessee defense, and one of the ways to do it is with the option. You've got a quarterback with mobility like Pookie Jones. He can pull it out and go. He scares defensive coordinators most when he, not necessarily when he's throwing the ball, but when he's got it tucked under his arms.
2nd down, about 6 from the 46 of Tennessee. The slot right formation. And off to the tailback, Craig Walker struggling forward. Near the 40, a couple of yards short of the 1st down. He was tackled by number 40, Shazon Bradley.
And one of the things that Kentucky would love to do on offense is keep their defense off the field. Tennessee has one of those types of offense that you can't stop. Hopefully you can slow them down for a while. The best way to stop them is to keep them off the field. So they're going to be trying to manage the clock here a little bit and give their defense a break, because their defense has had tough times, and without Armstead playing, with him being injured, that's their big force out of there.
3rd down and 2. A quick opener handoff to C, and Dale C gets the first down. So that senior having a good start to his final game here in Commonwealth Stadium, and Kentucky keeps the drive alive. They're going to spark the ball right about the 38-yard line of Tennessee.
Defense is difficult to play unless you're at an emotional, unless you've got an emotional pitch that borders on mania. You have to be ready to play on defense. Offensively, you can go about your business logically, run your routes, get in front of your guy. But on defense, you got to be a little bit like a madman most of the time. And if you're supposed to whip a team, sometimes it's harder to get ready to play.
On 1st down, 3 wideouts in for Kentucky. Pookie Jones in trouble, has to dump it off to his tailback. That's Clyde Rudolph. 1st down, Kentucky. Penalty marker in the secondary. As some of those Tennessee and Kentucky players mixed it up back there. Gain of 13 yards on the safety valve to Clyde Rudolph.
I think this was set up, Bob, as a screen. Just by the way, the Tennessee defensive lineman came through there. And you know Kentucky likes to go to the screen. We've seen them use that successfully against Florida and against Georgia.
This might be where we say, never mind, holding against Kentucky.
We have holding, 10-yard penalty during the run. Penalties from the end of the run replace the down.
Pookie takes the ball, scrambles out. You're going to see there go the defensive lineman, set up as a screen. Ernest Fields coming to make the play. Rudolph makes a miss, and then he's off downfield. Actually, they called this on one of the wide receivers.
So they mark off the 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, which actually gives 2 yards to Kentucky on 1st down again. Not a bad deal, actually. You have 1st down 8. Clyde Rudolph slipped on the turf here and went down almost instantly. He was hit by 56 Chuck Smith.
If there is a strength to this Tennessee defense, it's in their defensive ends, and they are both just difficult to deal with. You talk about Chuck Smith and Chris Mims on the outside. Right now, Smith's upfield and no place for Rudolph to go. I think Kentucky's best chance is to keep running the option and then running the fullback up the middle. Try to work them up the middle. You know, although they've got some good folks up there, and Shazan Bradley and J.J. Surlis, I think they'll have better luck.
2nd down 11 from the 39. Pookie Jones just tucks it in to run on a quarterback draw. Not much happening. He is going to be stopped at about the 36-yard line by Ernest Fields.
They like to use Pookie on the quarterback option keeper, and they like him on the quarterback draw. Let's watch Chris Mims here, number 93. See how he's playing passive? Bradley was upfield, and Mims was reading more than he was charging, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get guys like that to not just explode off the ball, because when they're coming, when they know it's a pass, these guys fly. They leave singes in the grass when they accelerate off the ball.
3rd down 8 from the 36. 10th play of the drive. Pookie Jones showing you his athletic ability, avoiding the sack, but not achieving the 1st down. The 1st down sticks at the 28. He goes out of bounds at about the 33-yard line, and Kentucky will have to give it up here. At the 33 is where they will be spotting this ball. And Doug Pelfrey is in to attempt a long field goal. It'll be about 50 yards. Now, normally that would cause concern, but he's 4 out of 5 from that range this year.
Well, he's hitting it into the wind. So this is Babe Ruth Pelfrey here, you know. He's got the big bat, but those flags are pretty stiff. If he can keep it low, maybe he's got a shot at it.
Hits it hard, but it's going to hook badly and even come up short. Chips into the end zone. Pretty stiff breeze into his face, so Pelfrey now is 4 out of 6 from 50-plus yards. But when he's kicking it, it's always got a chance. Well, the holding call put Kentucky in a difficult situation. They couldn't convert, and it goes over to Tennessee at the 33-yard line after the missed field goal. And Andy Kelly will lead the Volunteers out here. Andy Kelly's thrown for 2,479 yards this year, 13 touchdowns. He threw 5 touchdown passes last year against Kentucky. Start off running the ball. That's James Stewart. Stewart to the 41-yard line. His nickname is Little Man, but he's hardly that at 6'1", 195, a true freshman from Morristown, Tennessee. And that Tennessee offense can put some points on the board. Mario Brunson will start at fullback. You'll be seeing several players alternating in there at the running back positions. Carl Pickens, of course, playing his final year at Tennessee. And Tom Myslinski leads a good Tennessee offensive front. 3 wideouts in for the Volunteers. Second down, long 2 from the 41-yard line. First down inside the 50. Mario Brunson, the fullback, with the carry. Deuce Williams with the tackle. The Dr. Pepper starting lineups for Kentucky Wildcats defense. Joey Couch playing his final game as a senior. He's a real leader there for the Kentucky football team. The leading tackler on the team with 165 stops, Marty Moore, anchors the linebackers. And Don Robinson, the SEC Defensive Player of the Week against Florida, 11 tackles and 2 interceptions last week. Kelly to throw for the first time today. Screens it out wide to the right side. Actually, it was naked out to the right side to the 42-yard line to James Stewart.
Kelly just moves the ball around so well and rarely loses his composure. During the course of his career, we've seen him throw up an errant pass or two, and Tennessee fans would say, well, where'd that come from? And you know, he has dealt with some inexperienced receivers here, and I know a couple of times, at least this year, the receiver makes the wrong move. Kelly throws in anticipation of a post, and the guy goes to the corner, so it's not always his fault, but I just think he's fantastic.
Pickens goes in motion out of the tailback position. Kelly throwing over the middle. It is complete to the 12-yard line. Number 12, Corey Fleming with the reception. A gain of 30 yards.
Always tough when they've got 4 wide receivers coming at you like that. Let's watch this develop. See Corey Fleming, second from the top of your screen, work in the middle instead of laying it up. Kelly puts it on a rope and sticks it in over the linebackers in front of Sherwood.
First down 10 from the 12. Handoff goes to Stewart. Battles inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Goes freshman James Stewart. We might mention right now that a key player for Kentucky is not in this game today. Melvin Johnson starting at free safety. Brad Armstead is out with a hamstring.
Exactly, but one of the encouraging things for Bill Curry is that Armstead was hurt on the 7th play of the Florida game, so he was not involved in that turnaround, change of momentum. And so Johnson's a young player, but has gained a lot of experience this year.
Second down, about 7 from the 8-yard line. Timeout Tennessee with 6:18 to go in this first quarter. And Andy Kelly will come over here to talk on the sideline. We'll be right back to Commonwealth Stadium after this. There's Brad Armstead, the man we're talking about. He's the junior out of Henderson, Kentucky, the free safety who pulled a hamstring. A lot of injuries. They've been snake bitten this year. You look at just a very minor partial list there.
That's right. You know, Donnie Red isn't in that list. He's their starting tailback. He got hurt in the first game, and then Hood and Collins and all their running backs have been nicked throughout the game all season. Although Rudolph is healthy and playing today, he hasn't been healthy for more than 2 games in a row.
Second down 6 from the 8-yard line. Tennessee threatening. Zone. McCleskey was totally open over there, but couldn't get it. It'll be 3rd down 6. Good play call, Johnny.
Good read by Andy Kelly. Some confusion in the secondary here. That's one of these ones after the play. You know, your mother had been saying some novenas wide open, and a couple of defensive backs consulting on the miscommunication. But obviously, a corner thought it was one thing, and Melvin Johnson thought it was something else. So They got to clear it up now.
Third down, Tennessee. They've converted more thirds into first or touchdown than any team in the league this year. Here comes Kentucky. Kelly just had to get rid of it. Diving catch by Pickens is far short of the first down at the 5-yard line. So it'll be 4th down and about 4 for Tennessee. They'll probably go for the field goal attempt here, would be my guess. Kentucky holds the Volunteers out of the end zone, and on comes true freshman John Bexford, number 10, who is 11 of 16 on the year. It'll be about a 22-yard field goal. Severe angle from the right side.
It's not an uncommon scenario for us to see this year. Move the ball down the field with pretty much ease and then get stalled inside the 5.
Bexford splits the uprights, and Tennessee takes the early lead 3-0 with 5:27 remaining in the first quarter. A field goal of 22 yards. Tennessee takes the lead 3-0 on the 22-yard field goal. The big play on the drive, of course, the pass completion to Corey Fleming that set up what looked to be an almost sure thing Tennessee touchdown at the 12-yard line. The incompletion in the end zone, the Kentucky blitz, and the field goal, and it's 3-0. Joey Chapman, the kickoff kicker. Rudolph and Clark back for Kentucky. Clark is 7, Rudolph 27. Speaking of a home run, that one's deep, and Rudolph is going to down it in the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
You know, it's always interesting watching guys that are returning punts and returning kickoffs. You know, coaches will teach you, oh, you get driven deep into the end zone, just sit there. But no matter how much you tell that to a player, a guy that's a competitor catches the ball, his feet start going, and he wants to come out. But unfortunately, Neil Clark came over there and said, take it easy, Clyde. We'll get him the next time. Eric, you see it, 8 plays, 62 yards. And as Bob pointed out, the big play is a pass from Kelly to Fleming.
Samuels 44 and Walker 12 are the running backs for Kentucky on the first down. Pookie Jones on the option. Tennessee plays it very well, and Pookie Jones probably loses a yard on that one. Stopped by Chuck Smith and Darrell Hardy.
Well, Darrell Hardy's had a fantastic year on defense for Tennessee. He's played several different positions for them during his career, but this year alone he has blocked 4 kicks. He's blocked 5 in his career, but 4 this year. 16 and a half big plays for the Volunteers. A fine core of linebackers coached by John Chavis and Larry Lacewell.
Second down, 10 out of the shotgun. Pookie's going to tuck it up, try to run again. They're all over Pookie Jones today. And if I'm Tennessee's defensive coordinator, one of the things I think I'd say planning for this is let's stop Pookie Jones if we can, and then let Kentucky have to beat us some other way.
I think that's a great plan, Bob, and there may be some jobs available in the country this year. But you're right. You know, take away their most lethal weapon, and with Kentucky it is Pookie Jones. They're watching him very closely on 2nd and long for the draw. Their linebackers are going to sit around the line of scrimmage for the screen because that's what Kentucky does well.
Third down, 12 from the 18-yard line. Pookie Jones to go to the air. First, he's going to the ground at the 11-yard line. Chris Mims gets his 4th sack of the year for Tennessee. So Kentucky, nothing happening on that possession. They lose 7, 8, 9 yards in 3 plays.
You'll see Chris Mims come into your picture from the right side. He's a junior college All-American from Los Angeles. Played basketball in college. When Tennessee signed him, he only weighed about 220 pounds. About 260 now. Great pro prospect, according to Rex Norris.
Bill Hawk with a good one out of his own end zone, driving Dale Carter way back. Look at this Kentucky bounce. Neil Clark waving it on. It finally rolls dead at the 14. A 74-yard career best punt for Bill Hawk. His previous best happened this year of 66 yards. First of all, he hit it very well. It was into the wind, but it got a great roll. Kentucky gets a 74-yard punt from Bill Hawk, but you might have to give an assist to Dale Carter. He possibly should have caught this. Watch number 18, bottom of your screen.
Hawk nails it, gets it up in a tight spiral into the wind, and it starts to move on Carter. And gets away from him. He loses it. It's a 75-yard punt. You got it probably about 30 yards after it hit the ground.
That's the third longest punt in Kentucky history. First and 10, Tennessee from their 15. Stewart tries the right side. Derek Thomas makes the stop. Stewart set a Tennessee record yardage for a freshman rushing last week with 215 yards on the ground. Well, by the way, that's the only 200-yard performance of the year.
They came into the year with a couple of untested running backs, and Hayden and Stewart have really both stepped up for the Volunteers and developed well.
Second down, 7. Kelly. It's intercepted by Joey Couch. Is that Couch? Damon Betts got it, number 99. An interception right at the line of scrimmage. Betts at 6'4" jumped up, and Kentucky has it at the 16-yard line.
Pickens is running it off deep to the weak side. They're just trying to get a little check down to Stewart, but he fell down. As he comes up, Kelly tries it up to the ball. It's tipped at the line of scrimmage by Zane Bean. Stewart had fallen down. Bean knocks the ball out of the air, and there's Betts. Makes the almost squirmed away from him. Squeezed it to death.
From the 16, first down, 10, Kentucky, trailing 3-0, 2.5 minutes to go, first quarter. Terry Samuels, a couple of yards. Well, probably not any. Shazan Bradley made the stop. They'll give him no gain.
And at times, this Tennessee defense is an enigma. I know it is to me, and I know it is to some of their coaches. There's so much talent here, and it's amazing to me that they just go through little periods like they all disappear. You know, and I know that the offense sometimes adds to the problem with turnovers, but these guys are solid across the board. Points should be few and far between with this talent.
They give it to Samuels again. You know, Stop for a loss this time, Bradley and Fuller.
And you got Smith, Todd Kelly, who's Smith's backup, is a great player. Surlis and Fuller now is in there as a backup. Bradley, Kerry Bailey plays, Chris Mims and Rogers. They are just really strong up front. Now, they're going to lose a lot of these rascals. 9 out of 11 of the starters are seniors. 14 out of the top 22 on defense will be gone as seniors.
Third down, 11. This is the second consecutive Kentucky possession. They've lost yardage on the possession. Pookie Jones has it open. It's Neil Page, the tight end. Page stayed on his feet with a beautiful run, but he's short of the first down. They stop him about the 11. Jeremy Lincoln had him, and he broke out of it.
You know, Darrell Dickey's been working with Pookie Jones, and you can really see the progress here. Great read. He finds the open man. Page trying to stay on his feet. Excellent effort by the young man from Roswell, Georgia.
They're bringing in the sticks here to measure. He may have had enough for the first down. Near the 6-yard line.
Looks like it.
By the length of the ball, first and goal. Kentucky at the 6.
Good protection by that offensive line gave Jones time to find the open receiver. That's been a little bit of a problem for him this year.
This is Clyde Rudolph to the 3-yard line. Ernest Fields stops him.
We saw Kentucky, a prohibitive underdog, go into Knoxville last year, and at 2 times during the football game, they're up by 14 points. And talking to some of the Tennessee fans in the hotel before the game, they're saying, well, you know, this is Kentucky. This is always a tough game. And sure is starting out that way.
In the power formation, second down goal. They spotted at the 4. Walker tripped up. Great penetration by Chuck Smith. Walker has 5 touchdowns on the year. He is an excellent short yardage runner.
And here come the Mighty Mikes back into the game. Neil Clark, Kurt Johnson, as the quarter ends.
With Kentucky inside the Tennessee 5, Volunteers lead it by a score of 3-0.
Okay, here's a big play from Kentucky. You see, Tennessee's going to be in a 2-deep zone, so they're moving back in this area, covering these areas here. You find Page, find the open area across the middle. Great protection by Kentucky. Page coming from the right side to that open area. Good read by Jones. And an excellent effort by Neil Page to keep his feet and work his way down for the first down. That's the kind of effort that Kentucky's going to need on every play to stay in this game.
Third down goal from the 5. Pookie Jones fumbles. Tennessee recovers. At the 13-yard line, Darrell Hardy's got the ball. Number 87. Big defensive play by Tennessee.
Let's see it again. Pookie really never got the ball from the center. He never really had control of it coming out of there. Let's watch it again from another angle. This is just a fortunate play for Tennessee. That ball was just never controlled by anybody. Hardy there to fall on the ball, and Tennessee first and 10 on their own 12.
They'll hand it off to Stewart. Struggles out across the 15 to the 16-yard line. In the first quarter, Kentucky with 4 first downs to Tennessee's 2 and doubled the number of offensive plays, 18-9, yet Tennessee leads by a score of 3-0.
And Kentucky had a good opening drive. As you see, Larry New, he's talking to his guys upstairs. Defensive coaches upstairs had to be encouraged by their second half performance against Florida. Although good coaches are never encouraged when you lose.
The play clock down to 3 seconds before Tennessee gets the play off. And little man Stewart stopped at the 20-yard line. Jeff Van Note, the dark glasses on the sideline there, a good friend of mine and a great pro for the Atlanta Falcons for many years. A man you played against several times.
Yeah, right. We're from the same era. Tremendous representative of whatever team he was playing for.
Jeff Van Note was a fullback and then a linebacker at Kentucky. Norm Van Brocklin sent him to Huntsville to minor league football to teach him to be a center. He went on to become an All-Pro.
Great effort all the time.
The play clock wound down past the 25 seconds this time. That was 3rd down and 3.
See Dean Wells there, number 42. He's playing with an injured shoulder. Probably one of the best athletes on this Kentucky defense. Got a wounded wing.
Dick Burleson's the referee, the man in the white hat.
We have a delay of game, dead ball foul on the offense. We have a dead ball personal foul against the defense. First down.
Oh, well, poor timing on the part of Kentucky as they would have moved Tennessee back to a 3rd and 8, but then during the dead ball, as you heard Dick Burleson said, the personal foul, they mark it out here to the 30, gives Tennessee the first down.
And Kentucky is the least penalized team in the SEC, and they've had 2 critical penalties early in this football game that have cost them.
Well, he gives it to Stewart. Stewart runs for the first down to the 43-yard line before he's tripped up by Adrian Sherwood.
Stopped by number 24, Adrian Sherwood.
Let's watch Stewart work again behind Philip Fulmer's offensive line. James Stewart maintaining his balance, keeping his feet, Runs into Mark Adams downfield, down there trying to help him out. As Bob mentioned, 215 yards last week against a solid Ole Miss defense that's been riddled by injuries.
First down from the 43. Volunteers lead 3-0. 13-12 to go in the first half. Kelly under pressure. He breaks out of the sack attempt and releases the pass, and that's going to be close to a first down. Mark Adams, the man who caught it. Damon Betts was back there, and I thought had Kelly wrapped up, but no. Excellent effort from Andy Kelly.
Let's see it again. Good coverage by the Kentucky secondary. Betts coming around the outside, comes clean. Just grab a hold of something and hang on. Kelly always composed. Who is that? Von Reeves? I think it's Fine Von Reeves. Was it Mark Adams? Mark Adams, number 83, across the field.
And that's Tennessee first down. Inside Kentucky territory to the 47. And Tim, good thing you got your big coat on. The cold front is moving in. But I'm, of course, more concerned about that. James Stewart to the 44-yard line. Michigan way out in front of Ohio State.
But our producer, Rowan Backfish, Bob, and you'll be gratified to know this, as you see the effect of the wind on the flag, has provided us with a heater here. I'm not sure if this is a heater or a toaster.
Provided you with it.
Well, this is not big enough to really spread the heat around.
You're the coat. I don't know. You got the heater. It's talent, I'm telling you. You, Doug Collins, Hubie Brown, all the guys I work with, and all the star troops. Oh, is it picked off again? No, it falls loose this time. On the 3rd down 7, Zane Bean almost got it. Kentucky had one interception over the middle by Damon Betts earlier in this game.
And there are plays where Andy Kelly's just going to let the receivers run out the linebackers, run out the secondary, and try to hit the check down. Bill Glazer, the defensive line coach for Kentucky, has taught these guys to hang around. You may pick one up. Zane Bean knocks it down and almost makes the interception.
3rd down 7, Volunteers from the 44 of Kentucky. That was intended for 12 Corey Fleming. Tennessee will have to get rid of the football. So Tennessee started this drive at their own 13 after recovering the fumble, unable to move it close enough for field goal range, and on will come freshman punter Tom. Number 8 is Kurt Johnson. Kurt averages a little less than 10 yards per punt return. Going to take this at the 10 out to the 15-yard line. He was tackled by J.J. McCleskey. A punt of 34 yards, a return of 5. 12:05 to go in the first half. 12:05 to go in the half. Tennessee leading it 3-0. Tim, we're always talking about the hairstyles, you know, of these guys with the long hair. And is that an earring on that player there? An earring there in the left ear of, who is that? Tim Foley.
Oh, man, oh, man.
I can answer the question. There was no earring.
That's my younger brother.
You look lean and mean.
Oh, I was vicious. Tate assassin.
Well, you're joking, but the offensive players in the league didn't think that way. Bill Curry asked me where you were yesterday. When I bumped into him, I wasn't with you, and I said, wherever Freddie Bolitnikoff is.
Having nightmares. You know, whenever I can't sleep, I usually think of Freddie Bolitnikoff.
First down 10 from the 15-yard line. Kentucky after the 34-yard punt. Craig Walker out to about the 18-yard line.
Good series by the Kentucky defense. Tennessee is just they would just really be a headache to try to stop on offense. They can do so many things, and they do it so well. They've got such a good coaching staff, and they seem to graduate a lot of people every year, but they seem to have folks in depth that just kind of step right in there. They haven't played a lot before, but they certainly have been well prepared.
On 2nd down 6, Pookie Jones. Excellent coverage by Tennessee. Pookie Jones had every blue-shirted Wildcat had a white-shirted Volunteer right in his face. had to eat it, get out of bounds at about the 17.
And that's certainly a good idea by offensive coordinator Rick Rhodes to move the pocket with Pookie. You've got his versatility and his quickness. Get him out of there. Help these offensive linemen out a little bit with these tremendous rushers in that Vol defensive front. Help slow them down a bit.
This is 3rd down 8. Nobody open. 2 coverage tackles. Once he had to run out of bounds, and this time the defenders just kind of caved in on top of him, but that was because of the secondary. The man who got the sack is Shazan Bradley.
But Tim Keene has to be proud of his secondary for Tennessee. Another coverage sack, actually, and try to hit Neil Clark over the middle. Mark Fletcher was sitting down in that zone, couldn't stick it in.
Tennessee came after that punt. This is Pickens out here. This time it takes a Tennessee bounce, and it'll go out of bounds right about midfield. Punt of 40 yards from Bill Hawk this time. Tennessee came after that one and almost got it. 10:34 to go in the half. Tennessee leads 3-0. They'll have it at midfield. I think Tennessee got away with one here on the Bill Hawk punt. Watch this replay and see if there isn't contact while he's up on the one leg.
Up he goes. Jeremy Lincoln there. Shazan Bradley there. Looks like there's contact. Dick Bertelsen doesn't think so. Bill Hawk tries to sell it to him. No sale.
On the first down, James Stewart dives to about the 46. Penalty marker is down at the point of the tackle.
By number 45, Marty Moore.
Marty Moore made the tackle, but somebody also got a hold of the face mask. That'll be a 5-yard face mask penalty. It won't give him the first down. It'll be 2nd down and about a yard, less than a yard. Johnny Majors, 23rd year as a head football coach.
It's the face mask, 5-yard penalty from the end of the run, 1st down.
15 years at Tennessee. Back a few years ago, they'd gotten off to a somewhat slow start, 0-6, and things were coming apart. That's when Andy Kelly came on the scene, and it's been 22-4-1 since then, I believe. A lot of games.
First down and about a half a yard for the first down. And pass complete to Stewart at the 20. That's a gain of 21 yards. Tennessee leading 3-0 with 10:13 to go in the half and threatening again.
Let's look at this protection. One of the things that makes a good quarterback is a good offensive line. Watch him working there. Number 50, Tom Myslinski. 59, Mike Stahl. Patrick Lenore, 65.
Here goes Stewart. 4 yards on this carry to the 16-yard line. James Stewart has 9 carries, 47 yards so far today.
John Fisher is kind of an unheralded player. A lot of these guys in this offensive line are unheralded because of Antoine Davis and Charles McCray last year. They got all the press as Stewart goes to the sideline, but Myslinski is he's an all-SEC guard. Fisher, if it wasn't for Brothen, and well, there's a bunch of good centers. Meeks, Dixon, Florida.
Aaron Hayden, the other true freshman in. Penalty markers again. That was Hayden's first carry of the day.
Number 46, Reggie Smith.
Joey Couch is signaling holding
against Tennessee. This is the battle for the beer barrel. Tennessee's kept it the last 6 times they've played. Not been allowed to use it, but they've kept it.
John Majors had his hands full last week, you know, after a tremendous victory up in South Bend, a big come from behind, emotionally draining experience. They had their hands full with Ole Miss. Even though they got on top early, Ole Miss made it a game later on in the afternoon.
4 wideouts in there for Kelly. Good coverage by Kentucky. Kelly's got running room. He slides down at about the 18-yard line. First down sticks at the 11. So it's going to be a 3rd down play for Tennessee. We talked about the Volunteers' coverage of the Kentucky receivers. They got it back that time.
Looks like they had a double screen set up. He kind of fakes it to the right, goes back to his left. It's not there. There was 2 blue shirts sitting in the middle of it. Couch trying to chase him down from behind. He arrives the same time as Marty Moore. 3rd and 8.
Defensive play by Melvin Johnson, the freshman who's replacing their all-conference free safety, Brad Armstead. So Kentucky holds again.
Let's look at the end of this play. Down the middle, again, a double zone. They hit it earlier to Corey Fleming down the middle. This time, Melvin Johnson, reading the quarterback, comes from the strong side to make the play.
35-yard field goal attempt by John Becksford this time. Right in the middle of the field. It is true. It is a 6-0 Tennessee lead with 8 minutes to go in the first half from Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington. 2 John Becksford field goals are the difference in the game with 8:02 to go in the half.
Down in this goal line area, they're going to try to attack the middle here. They're going to try to get it up over the top of the linebacker chasing. Here's Fleming here trying to beat the safety to the inside. Coming from the other side, though, Melvin Johnson reading the quarterback, slides to his left, now breaks on the ball. Good throw by Kelly. Excellent play by Melvin Johnson. We talked about him earlier. He's growing with his experience and starting to understand what the quarterback's trying to do to that defense.
Rudolph at the 9. Only to the 16 before he's upended by 26 David Bennett. 7 yards for Tennessee. 7 plays to go 32 yards in 2.5 minutes. And they get the 35-yard Becksford field goal. We have 7:56 to go in the half. And Kentucky from inside their 20. They spot it at the 18-yard line. See, the first play, Kentucky had excellent field position and moved the ball reasonably well. Last 3 times, negative yardage. And now Ryan Hockman in at quarterback for Kentucky. He's their pinch hitter, and he hands off very cleverly to Craig Walker, who gets about 4 yards. Sean Walker makes the stop as Michigan continues laying it on Ohio State. And Virginia, we're going to see them in the Gator Bowl.
Yeah.
Out in front of Virginia Tech, 17-0. And Purdue leading
laying
Indiana.
it on Indiana. Hey, Sarge, what do you think? Will it hold up? I really appreciate you putting up those Purdue scores when we're ahead. Get them up early.
2nd down 4. Ryan Hockman has just done a tremendous job coming off the bench for Kentucky this year. He's led them from behind a couple of times. This time he gives it to Samuels, who gets nowhere.
Samuels on the carry, no gain.
Hockman on the year's thrown 3 touchdown passes, 463 yards. It's a plan. There you go. He's a pinch hitter, Bill Curry says.
And as you said, a plan. I mean, he hasn't started any games. Brad Smith, the starter earlier on, but Hockman, more of a pure passer and not as agile or as nimble as Pookie Jones is in the pocket, but a more experienced reader of coverage. They'd like to give Pookie a rest somewhere in the first half.
He's in position to pass here on 3rd down 4. Diving grab is good at the 29. That's a first down. Craig Walker made the snatch.
And Chuck Smith coming around that left side. Lar drives him deep. He can't get a hold of Hockman, and Craig Walker extends himself out. Jeremy Lincoln, he was coming. He thought he was going to get a piece of that one. Excellent play by Craig Walker.
Kentucky first down out to the 29-yard line now. Hockman's going to give it to Rudolph. A couple of yards, not much more. Tim and I were talking about Virginia, who will be playing in the Gator Bowl, which we'll televise on Sunday night, December 29th at 8 Eastern time from Jacksonville, Florida, versus either Colorado, Nebraska, or Oklahoma, depending on how things finish out in the Big 8. Colorado's playing Iowa State today. Nebraska and Oklahoma play next week. And we'll also have for you the Baylor-Indiana matchup in the Copper Bowl, unless Indiana loses to Purdue today. And then 3 or 4 other teams become possibilities. Hockman under pressure, gets rid of it to Johnson. Lost the ball, and Tennessee has it.
I think Mims came back and got him, Bob. Ernest Field comes up with the football.
Johnson was hit from behind. He didn't see whoever got him, whoever it was.
Yeah. Whoever it was is twice as big as him. Fields came up with the ball, but I think it's Chris Mims hustling back in here. Mims coming upfield. They hit a little quick screen. Johnson coming inside. Now take it upfield, Kurt. He makes one more move back to the sideline. Mims strips the ball, and there's Ernest Fields, who always seems to be in the right place at the right time.
James Stewart slips down at the 37.
But that's the kind of hustle that you love to see. And Tennessee's got 2 of the best defensive ends that I've seen since we've been doing these games for the last 10 years. Bill talking about covering that ball up when you're heading into the traffic like that, especially a little rascal like Kurt Johnson is. I mean, he only weighs about 145 pounds.
Second down 8, the play fake. Good coverage by Reggie Smith, who tackled James Stewart as soon as he caught the ball. A gain, however, of about 6 yards to the 33-yard line.
So play the Tennessee you're going to see 5 or 6 times every Saturday afternoon from these guys. They drag the tight end across and they run Pickens deep. If the corner gives ground to help on Pickens, they hit the tight end across, and that's what they did. Andy Kelly read Pickens as covered and dumped it to the tight end.
Third down 4, Volunteers from the 33-yard line. The blitz is on. It is complete to Pickens, who gets the first down. It goes out of bounds at the 19.5. Adrian Sherwood made the stop.
You know, we talked about Pickens in the pros, and you watch this here. It's just a stop route. He's got a lot of space, and it's probably a read route by Pickens. If he's back off you, run a hitch. If he gets up in your face, take him deep. And he certainly is a talented young man, a fine collegiate wide receiver. I'm not sure that he has the quickness to evade some of the better cornerbacks in the NFL.
James Stewart. His nickname is Little Man. Coming off his 215 yards last week, has 55 and 11 carries today with under 4 minutes to go in the first half.
So it wraps it up. Marty Moore. Whoa! It's amazing that he was able to hang on to that ball there. Marty Moore almost knocked it out.
Second down 3. James Stewart again. Is drilled by Marty Moore. And there's short of the first down. Well, it's close to.
Bill Curry has the headsets on now. He wants to know what all the calls are right now. And Marty Moore is a player that we have seen develop throughout the course of the season. Of course, he replaced Randy Halloran, their all-time leading tackler, and you know, he probably has more quickness than Halloran does, but he didn't have the experience in the beginning of the year, but he certainly has gained enough experience this year. He's over 170 tackles now.
Third down and 1. Hayden is stopped short of the first down. Derek Thomas, the first man to hit him. And Johnny Majors is going to send Bexford out there again, and Kentucky has denied Tennessee the end zone the entire game.
Look at Couch get the crack there. Thomas comes down on the inside and hangs on. That's a big thing. Moore is there to help out. Look at him use his hands. Derek Thomas has been an unselfish player for the last 2 years. He is a linebacker. They've got him playing defensive end just because they don't have anybody else, so he's been down playing with the big boys, but a great play by Derek Thomas.
Bexford drills the 28-yarder. It's 9-0 Tennessee on 3 Bexford field goals. Last week's winner in the Citgo SEC Great Performer was Jim Delosier of Anniston, Alabama. Now stay tuned for details on how you can win with Citgo's SEC Great Performer. Tennessee gets 3 field goals from Bexford. They lead at 9-0 with 2:04 to go. I think as you look at Rudolph on the right there and Neil Clark on the left, the significant factor is Kentucky's ability to keep Tennessee out of the end zone thus far in this game. Kurt Johnson is back to take the kickoff, not Neil Clark. He gets it at the 4. And Johnson goes down at the 16.
Johnson on the return.
Kurt Johnson, who coughed it up after the pass was thrown to him by Hockman on the last series. Looked like Kentucky was starting to move the ball a little bit on that.
Career leader in kickoff returns. He broke Dickie Lyons' record. Dickie's played back in 66 through 68. Now that record belongs to Kurt Johnson.
Pookie Jones back in there on the first down 10 from the 17. The shovel pass to Rudolph out to the 20. That ball came loose. Kentucky covered it. It's their ball at the 20. Bill just loves that loose ball on the ground.
Right. Yeah.
Makes his afternoon.
But he knows that Kentucky, Tennessee doesn't need any help. Let's not help them out, boys.
Ricky Jones to Samuels. 3 Tennessee defenders were there. Samuels gets it across the 26, but short of the first down. Coming up on the Aflac College Halftime Report, we'll have scores of other games from around the country. And everybody has been calling and wondering when Tim Foley's All-SEC team would be announced. Today. Today is the day. Third down, less than a yard. Samuels gets it to the 30. First down, Kentucky, with under a minute to go at half. You never do name any wide receivers. You always put in about 6 cornerbacks and no wide receivers on that on-call. Did you put in wide receivers this year?
Receivers were converted defensive backs, probably.
Johnny Majors yelling some instructions as we have a timeout with 54 seconds remaining in the first half. There's a very chic, suave Carl Pickens resting on the sideline. 54 seconds to go in the game. Tonight on TBS, exciting NBA action. The Atlanta Hawks, they played well. Beat Philadelphia last night. Kevin Willis had, what, 23 rebounds? Play the Washington Bullets tonight. 7:35 Eastern Time on the Superstation. Hawks surprising some people early in the season, including me. Pookie Jones sees an opening, has 5 yards. He lost a little bit as he tried to get outside. He had about 5. Give him only about 4 on the carry, as it turns out.
Try to get out of bounds and stop the clock. 34 seconds left to go in the half. Kentucky trying to get on the scoreboard.
He lost the ball over there. Tennessee's just really bottled up this Kentucky offense all afternoon long.
It was Casey Rogers that time was the culprit.
13 seconds remaining in the half, and Kentucky uses their timeout here.
Yeah, we're going to have that all-SEC team, and one of the people that you'd like to have on that SEC team is Rick Rhodes. Talks to Pookie Jones. The guy we want to recognize that isn't on that team is Neil Clark, and he's had a fantastic year this year for Kentucky. Last year he led their special team in tackles. He's a hustler. He's always around the football when he's still covering kicks for him, but he has developed into a fine receiver this year with 46 catches. His coach is Joker Phillips, who was a great receiver here at Kentucky himself. And this guy works the sideline as well as anybody in the SEC. There's another guy. Now he's on it. Brad Armstead.
You're giving it away. You're giving it away.
I'm sorry. You know.
I mean, I'm holding the audience for halftime, and now you've given away Armstead.
Follow the pictures. I've been trying to learn how to do this for 10 years. Follow the pictures. There's Freddie Maggard, number 18. We've seen him play for several years here at Kentucky, and he has unselfishly relinquished his starting job to Pookie Jones.
He's been hurt most of the year. Maggard has. Pookie Jones just keeps it himself and pays a serious price for it. That'll be the last play of this half. Tennessee gets 3. Well, no, hold it. They're stopping the clock. Tennessee calls timeout.
Right, because they want a shot at blocking a kick here. They're going to see if they can knock Bill Hawk down.
They almost got him last time. They bumped into him. No flag was thrown.
They blocked, like we said, as we said earlier, Darrell Hardy has blocked 4 kicks himself. Jeremy Lincoln had a partially deflected field goal that sealed the victory over Notre Dame. So
I wouldn't punt it. Run out the 6 seconds and don't give Tennessee a chance to get it in their hands. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's a possibility. That's always an option.
You don't like my coaching ideas.
I just don't know if he can run for 6 seconds.
That's a good question, because these Tennessee defenders are back there very quickly. That's what Bill's just saying right there. He
don't
says,
kick it?
Don't kick it. Hold it. Just run out the 6 seconds. I don't think I've made your all-SEC team as a coach.
No, hey, I tell you, you've got tremendous insight.
Well, we'll see. Here comes Tennessee after it. Well, he should have told him to hold it. And that's going to run out the half. He punted it anyway, despite what I wanted to see happen. Tennessee leads it 9-0 at the half. And we'll be back here in a few minutes with the Aflac halftime report, including the fully all-SEC team. Well, Tennessee's leading it by a score of 9-0, and one of the reasons Tennessee's been unable to get a bigger lead in this ball game is Kentucky's held the ball for 17 minutes and held Tennessee out of the end zone, but Kentucky turnovers, on the other hand, have hurt them severely, leading to 2 field goals.
Yeah, and Tennessee has played great defense in the first half, holding the Kentucky to 0.7 yards per carry, and this may be the game that Larry Lacewell was looking for, where they can put together 2 halves of good defense. So we'll see what happens here in this second half, obviously.
Pookie Jones hasn't been able to get Kentucky on track, but as Tim pointed out earlier, Tennessee is capable of giving up that big play. Kentucky is capable of making it also offensively.
Exactly, and they haven't been able to squeeze it out of them yet. You know, as we'll see as we look at the highlights, they just haven't been able to really come up, generate anything that beyond that first drive. And this is what it's been pretty much like for Kentucky. Tennessee's defense in their face. After that first 11-play drive, it's been difficult going. Here they're in position to score inside the 10, and the quarterback and the center can't get together on things, and Darrell Hardy comes up with the football, a big turnover. Hockman comes in to sub for Jones for a series, hits Kurt Johnson on a little screen coming across the middle, and Chris Sims hustling back, tears the ball out, and another Kentucky turnover. It's good, hard defense by Tennessee. But this is what it's been like for Tennessee once they get down in scoring position. Bang! Derek Thomas, big hit on Aaron Hayden. And with his buddies there to help, they have kept this powerful, potent Tennessee offense out of the end zone.
See the clouds rolling in here to Commonwealth Stadium. Cold front supposed to be moving through. Right now, quite pleasant, though. Temperature up near 60 degrees. As Tennessee leads it on 3 Becksford field goals of 22, 35, and 28 yards. Here are the halftime statistics. You see Kentucky with 17 minutes of ball possession down there in the lower right, but not much offensively, only 17 yards rushing.
Here's the new breakdown of the new SEC starting next year. The Eastern Division: Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vandy. Here's the West: Alabama and Auburn, Arkansas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. Actually, the wind conditions have changed here, Bob. The wind is now coming from the other direction, and you're going to see a change in temperature because now it's coming out of the northwest.
Tennessee will receive here to begin the second half. Sellout crowd at Commonwealth Stadium. A lot of us on the TBS Sports crew were in Rupp Arena last night, where there were about nearly 24,000 people watching the NIT, Kentucky playing against Pittsburgh, and the Wildcats were shocked by the Pittsburgh Panthers. Pittsburgh leading by as many as 20 late in that ball game. But Kentucky's going to be a good basketball team this year, and I think Pittsburgh notified everybody that they're going to be probably better than 8th in the Big East, where most of the people picked them to be. Bill Curry and Rick Pitino, both very pleased with the attitudes of each of their staffs, helping each other build a program not only in basketball but in football here at Kentucky.
Exactly. Before we go any farther, I want to acknowledge Brian Sarge Carter, even though he is a Hoosier, a graduate of the University of Indiana, for putting together that SEC all-star package for us. Searching out those highlights and finding all those headshots. We appreciate it, Brian. Thank you.
Dale Carter out to the 35-yard line on the kickoff, and there Tennessee will set up shop, leaving 9-0 as we're getting underway in the second half from Commonwealth Stadium. The lights have gone on here as it's gotten a little bit dark here in the afternoon in Lexington. Andy Kelly in the first half, 7 of 12 for 88 yards. He threw 1 interception. Damon Betts picked off one of his passes right at the line of scrimmage. And that's the 15th interception of the year for Andy Kelly. Going to start like they started before, and that's running with little man Stewart all the way to midfield. Deuce Williams makes the tackle.
Of course, the offensive coordinator here at Tennessee, Philip Fulmer, the former lineman here himself at Tennessee, and you know, he likes to be able to start out by knowing that he can run the football, and they'll throw it around, and they've got great wide receivers and a quarterback that can air it out, but he likes to be able to stuff it down somebody's throat if they have to.
They run it with the fullback Mario Brunson to the 43-yard line. He gets about 6 this crack.
Just saw Jerry Claiborne, the former coach here at Kentucky, and he can't take it anymore. He's getting back in coaching, only this time it's going to be international fare, going to Brunswick, Germany. He and Fay are leaving on the 17th, and they'll be over there for about 6 months. I tell you what, those Germans will be more disciplined than they've ever been.
He'll like their attitude. Second down, 5, little turnout. Looked like it was short hop there. Did they signal a reception? Carl Pickens, the intended receiver. They haven't decided yet. Looked to me as though it bounced into his hands. And that's what the call is. Incomplete pass. Well, no, hold it. They're saying he caught it.
Well, we'll look at it up in the booth. Let's see what happens. Pickens goes down for it, tries to save it.
It hit the ground, for sure.
It sure did hit the ground.
Nevertheless, it's at the 40, 3rd down and inches.
Yeah, Larry New is standing right there, defensive coordinator for the Wildcats, and he certainly let the official know what he thought of that.
Stewart gets the first down to the 37-yard line. Melvin Johnson made the stop.
Let's take a look at this save again. Pickens going down to his knees to try to bail it out.
It definitely got the ground.
Yeah. Great effort, though. And the official, in defense of the official, he was not in a position to see that. That's where you got to count on somebody from the inside to help you out that had a better view of it, because he was blocked by Pickens' body.
First down 10 from the 36-yard line. Volunteers 7-2 on the season, headed for the Fiesta Bowl. Stewart looks like he's about to start running to the Fiesta Bowl. Deuce Williams, Reggie Smith stop him, and he has 90 yards. James Stewart on the day.
One of the things that has brought forth the amount of yardage from these freshman rushers as they have accumulated is number 44, the development of Mario Brunson. Last year they had Amsler and they had Roland Poles, but now Brunson has really come on and done an outstanding job of clearing people out of the way of James Stewart.
Oh, that's a dangerous play. Whoa, my. Pickens made the reception, but he was hit instantly by Don Robinson at the 21-yard line.
SEC Player of the Week last week. Indiana, Sarge, get it off. Indiana back into the lead. Of course, they're playing for a berth in the Copper Bowl. There's Mario. Would you want to get in his way? 6'1", 250 pounds out of Portsmouth, Virginia. He doesn't carry the ball often. His real value, though, is knocking down strong linebackers, cleaning out interior linebackers on the lead. Right there. Boom.
Stewart is stopped after a gain of only a yard or two. Joey Couch came over to make the play. Looks like Brunson may have had one of his rare misses on that lead block.
Let's watch Joey Couch. We certainly are going to miss this rascal. He's given us entertainment for the last 4 years. Look at him fight in there. He's really too little to be playing in there with those big boys, but you know, his heart goes from his shoulders to his waist, and just a tough guy, a leader on this team. I think it's his 33rd consecutive start. This is the type of young man that you want to have on your football team.
3rd down 6. It is complete to Pickens, who falls down at the 10.
You know, he would probably wanted to be a little niftier than that. We'll show you this again. Here's Pickens out here on the outside. It's going to be cleared out here, and nobody looks back and picks up Pickens, who's just coming underneath the zone. Good jam. Now read to the inside. Kelly read it to the inside, got it going the right way, and the grass brought Carl Pickens to his knees that time.
Stewart tripped up. That was Joey Couch making the penetration.
Larry New hoping that his defense can come up with another big play inside the 10-yard line. They have been successful so far throughout the afternoon of keeping the Volunteers from Pater. Johnny Majors wants to put this game out of reach. He wants to get 6, 7 points on the board here.
2nd down from the 9. Stewart cuts against the grain. Touchdown, Tennessee. That takes Stewart over 100 yards and gives him his 6th rushing touchdown of the year.
Great job there by Tom Myslinski and Daphne Bernard pulling around. New reading it. Yeah. Didn't keep him out of there that time.
Point after is good, and it is 16-0 Tennessee. And that's the 5th time in his short 1-year career that Stewart has rushed for 100 yards. Stewart gets the touchdown. Tennessee takes the lead 16-0.
And let's see what it looks like here. Great block by the tight end, caving in the Kentucky defense here. You're going to see Myslinski and Bernard Daphne pulling here. Daphne will pick off more, and Myslinski's going to hook Williams, and Stewart's going to follow it all into the end zone. Myslinski gets the block there. Bang. There's Bernard Daphne, and Stewart finds Pater. 16-0. Tennessee with the lead.
Joey Chapman kicking off for the Volunteers. Into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20-yard line with Kentucky trailing by a score of 16-0 and unable to get anything going offensively. 31 yards in the air today, only 17 yards rushing the ball. Stewart, by the way, we talk about little man James Stewart. Stewart had 44 of the 65 Tennessee yards carrying the ball that drive.
And as a tandem, that group is really doing well. Hayden and Stewart, 10 plays, 5 minutes and 13 seconds. Been much more successful running the ball in the second half of the season. Early on, they were pretty much, the ball was in the air.
Hoffman in at quarterback for Kentucky now, his 2nd appearance of the game. Craig Walker running with. 1st down out to the 35-yard line goes the junior from Louisville. Dale Carter had to come up and make the tackle, his 1st of the day. Speaking of Dale Carter, he's clearly one of the better defensive backs in the SEC and in the country as a player is down for Kentucky. But, you know, after his great year last year, we've seen a lot of teams go away from Dale Carter. That's number 7, Neil Clark, who's down.
Sue Stanley and Al Green out there looking at Neil Clark.
Carter is a senior from Tennessee. What are your views on his pro potential?
I think he's got
182.
Tremendous pro potential. I think because of what happened last year and just his athletic ability, you know, offensive coordinators that from opposing teams are saying, why play with fire? You know, let's go the other way. So they tried to keep the ball away from him, actually, not throw it into his area. But he's the type of player that's going to come up with the big plays in the big games, and he's going to give you everything he's got on every play. The coaches there say he loves to play. He's a real competitor. And so he's been a tremendous asset for Tennessee.
See him giving a round of applause to Neil Clark, who's being able to get off the field on his own there. We're happy to say. Set Kentucky record for receptions in a single season with 46 coming into today's ball game. He has not made a catch so far today. Good view of the weather front moving into Commonwealth Stadium. 9:34 to go in the third quarter. First down, 10 Wildcats from the 34-yard line. Hockman hands it off to Walker. Thought they got some success the first time. They'll try it again. About 4 this time. Fields with the stop.
Number 23, Ernest Fields.
Craig Walker, we've seen Kentucky in the same situation as you saw Tennessee in. It's trying to start 2 true freshman tailbacks, trying to alternate them in. Now, given the fact that Kentucky did not have the talent in the offensive line that Tennessee had, their backs didn't really develop quite as rapidly, and they also had injury problems. So now Craig Walker's in there filling in.
Hockman gonna go deep. It's going to be picked off by Dale Carter. Look at the brakes he put on there. Carter's out to the 35 and out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Great exhibition of return skills. That pass was intended for Troy Hobbs. It was underthrown right into the teeth of the wind that is really picking up here at Commonwealth Stadium.
To the end of it here, he throws it into a 2-deep zone, and Carter just playing center field, comes down with the interception. And as we talk about teams wanting to stay away from him, that's why. He's got a tremendous sense of where the ball's going and understanding of what the offense is trying to accomplish. He had 20 interceptions in his junior college career.
3rd interception this year for Carter. That was almost picked off, batted down near the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down 10 for Tennessee. That was the 3rd Kentucky turnover. 2 of the 3 led to field goals in the first half.
And what you're going to see here is just a little route here, and they're not looking for a double zone on this particular pattern, but that's what they get. And as a result, nobody really bites on the smash that Hobbs runs. He comes inside. Hockman pumps it, but there's no reason for Carter to jump it. He's got somebody underneath to help.
On the 2nd down, the pump and the long throw. Incomplete at the 14, intended for Pickens on the fly. Sherwood covering. I'll tell you what Pickens does have, and that's great straightaway speed. There's a little defensive back wide receiver chat for you.
Yeah, right.
Sterling Ward talking to Pickens.
Flag on the play.
This was a hitch and go. Adrian Sherwood running with Carl Pickens. Once Sherwood sees that it's not a hitch, you got to just put that thing in drive and turn and run. Don't look back at the football.
Dead ball foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense.
That's against Tennessee, and Bill Curry probably telling his rover Sterling Ward might be a good idea to stay out of those conversations. Would you say there's a chance that's what he was saying?
Press your lips tightly together.
Like Bill's doing there.
Right.
That's a big penalty against Tennessee. They move it to the 26-yard line. Tennessee with a hurry-up play here. They see that they're going to quick kick it, and it almost got blocked. Intelligent play, and that is classic Tennessee. They started that back in the General Nealon days. Johnny Majors continues the tradition, and look at that. It rolls dead at the 6-yard line. The freshman Tom Hudson ran in there to get that away on 3rd down. 66-yard punt. Here's today's Phillips Petroleum leaderboard. The SEC standings, at least the top 6, and congratulations to Steve Spurrier and the Florida Gators, undefeated 7-0 SEC champions.
First time officially, and it's the first time that an SEC team has gone defeated in the league since 1983. When Auburn did it. The Gators have it going in the right direction. No question about that. It's going to be quite a matchup down there next Saturday. Florida State comes to town.
Tennessee leading at 16-0. First down 10 Kentucky from their 7, following the 66-yard quick kick by Tennessee's young freshman punter Tom Hutton. Good call by Johnny Majors. Walker punches it out there to 13. It's loose. Kentucky covered the ball, but they have turned that thing over several times. Chuck Smith knocked it loose. They may be saying that he was down. You see them move the ball back there to about the 8-yard line to spot it. It'll be 2nd down and a long 9.
Smith taking it inside. Fields steps up. It's like Shazan Bradley, or it's JJ. No, it's Shazan Bradley, number 40, pulls it out.
It looked like a fumble there, but that wasn't the rule. Samuel with a yard or 2 off the right side. Darrell Hardy makes the stop.
There's many great stories of perseverance on this Tennessee defensive team. You know, J.J. Surlis played as a true freshman, number 48, injured his knee. Then he hurt himself again the next year, and he thought he may not come back. And his dad, who was an all-SEC player, Tom, at Alabama, told him to hang in there, stick with it. Now he's a starter. Shazan Bradley played nose guard in '88, middle linebacker in '89. They're moving him all over the place. Now he's become just an excellent interior lineman for Tennessee. Persistence. Stick with things.
3rd down 5. Hockman. Throwing on the run, incomplete. By the way, that was 3rd and 5. Kentucky will have to get rid of the ball. You see Ryan Hockman in the game. He normally comes in the regular rotation. We understand now that Pookie Jones, the starting quarterback, has injured his right thumb, and his return to this game is doubtful. You saw split end Neil Clark go off the field with an injury. That was a right hip pointer, and his return also doubtful. Dale Carter back to take the Hawk punt, standing in his own end zone. Good view of the on-rushing Tennessee players. This gets a neutral bounce at the 50. That's where Tennessee will take over, leading 16-0. 6:29 remaining in the game. Thanks, Ernie Johnson Jr. The ball just inside Kentucky territory. Tennessee leading at 16-0. First down 10. This is Aaron Hayden. Hayden picking up where Stewart left off. Stewart got his 100. Now they'll run Hayden until he gets one. Tennessee has their way. 11 on that gain. Another Tennessee first down. Hayden is 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. He's from Detroit, Michigan, and he has a little bit of a tender ankle coming into this game. Doesn't look like it's very tender the way he's running. About 8 yards on that one. Marty Moore makes the stop.
You know, there's a couple of good stories in the Tennessee offensive line, too, as Aaron Hayden starts to pile up some yardage. You know, Myslinski's dad was a high school coach, and as we mentioned earlier, would have received much more recognition. One of the best linemen in the SEC if he hadn't been surrounded by other great linemen. Pat Lenore, there was 32 games between his first start and his second start.
Looked like Bernard Daphne jumped over on the left side for Tennessee. That whistle sounded prior to the snap of the ball. 5:31 to go, third quarter from Lexington.
But Philip Fulmer's theory and philosophy is if you stay, you will
Dead ball
play.
foul, false start on the offensive line. Repeat the down.
The idea is, since we've got good offensive linemen, you may not play right away, as you see the coaching staff up there. Fulmer to your far left. There's Larry Lacewell leaning forward. White hair on the sides.
Second down 8 from the 37. Aaron Hayden tries the right side. Got a good block there. And he got the first down. Out of bounds inside the 25-yard line.
Let's watch Tom Myslinski, young man from Rome, New York, number 50, coming around there. Gets his head around Jim Graves. He gets a handful of Jim, face mask full of Jim Graves. Got off about everything that Jim Graves had.
Good hands, Tom.
Yeah, right. Tight end material, Big Tom. I know your dad didn't teach you that, right?
First and 10 from the 23. Here's the pitch to Hayden. He couldn't cut against the grain. Kentucky had pursued well out there. Knew he couldn't turn the corner and goes down back at the 27 with a loss of 4 yards.
Johnny Majors he's coach of the year at Pittsburgh. Yeah,
but won't admit it.
No. Bill Curry at this point just wants the season to end. They were kind of snake bitten this year with injuries in important areas, and he's proud of the way his team has fought when looking down the barrel of a blowout. But what would be best for them is just to have this end right now and get to work on recruiting. And that effort is led by Tommy Limbaugh, and start preparing for next year.
Tennessee gets a timeout with 4:16 to go in the third quarter. Vols lead 16-0. Tennessee leading at 16-0 with 4:16 to go in the third quarter. Our NBA action continues on our sister network TNT on Tuesday. Los Angeles Lakers begin a 7-game road trip. They started off in Orlando against the Magic. Pete Van Wieren and Doug Collins will have that for you beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time Tuesday on TNT. Second down, 14 Volunteers at the 27. Look at the disparity in yardage there. And there's going to be more now as McCleskey takes the little toss from Kelly inside the 20. Short of the first down, however. It'll be third down and about 5.
You see who was out there to put him away? Old buddy Joey Couch coming from his nose guard position. And that's inspirational to see that kind of effort, regardless of which team you're for, which team you want to win, to see guys working like that. Even when your team isn't in the thick of things, to maintain that intensity.
Kelly on third down 6. They give it off to James Stewart. That didn't develop. Kentucky stayed at home. Stewart goes down at the line of scrimmage. Zane Bean makes the stop.
And let's look at Joey Couch again from Paintsville, number 48. Working hard, trying to get by Stoll and getting after the ball. Never a half-speed step, and that's what you want to have from your senior captain, your leader. You want to have that example through effort.
Becksford will have a 37-yard attempt here. He's 3 out of 3 today. You saw the longest so far today. It's 35 yards. Longest on the year is 44. Wind at his back. Not this time. Tennessee continues to lead by a score of 16-0 with 2:43 to go in the third quarter, and the Wildcats will take it over right there. Ryan Hockman comes back out at quarterback again, the junior from Harrison, playing in place of Pookie Jones. Pookie Jones has injured his right thumb and probably won't be back in this game today. Neither will the leading receiver on the team, Neil Clark, number 7. Clark injured his hip, and as I say that, Clark's back on the field. He's playing anyway. Hockman. Complete at the 33-yard line to Neil Page. Hockman took a shot just as he released it, so Neil Clark is back in the ball game, sore hip pointer and all.
You can't stand still long in the pocket when you play Tennessee. Those big boys coming from the outside, and sometimes they put 4 defensive ends in the game, and they just explode off the ball.
Tim Calvert out of the game. Troy Hobbs in. completes it to Carlos Collins. Collins goes out of bounds near the 40. Another true freshman. He's from Cincinnati, Carlos.
7 yards.
Looks like Casey Rogers.
Updated scores from around the country. Arkansas leads Rice in the first. Scores 3-0. At the half, East Carolina 14.
Well, this group of seniors for Tennessee have been through the hard times. You know, they've had good years recently, but this is a group that was a young group that was 0-6. As you look at Rex Norris, and Rex has been around coaching for a long time. He developed Leroy Selman. He was while he was at Oklahoma. Trace Armstrong while he was at Florida. Coached with the Detroit Lions for a while, and has really added to the skills and helped of these top quality defensive linemen that they have at Tennessee. One of the best pass rushing instructors in the country, I think.
2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter from Commonwealth Stadium. You're looking at the Kentucky band. They put on a hee-haw kind of show here at halftime that brought the crowd to their feet. Outstanding musical aggregate from the University of Kentucky.
Well, it's going to be an interesting year for Tennessee next year, Bob, as they look into the future, graduating 9 of 11 starters on defense, and a lot of backups on defense being seniors. And then you move to offense, and 6 out of 11 starters are seniors, plus Pickens announced that he's leaving, so that's 7. And you're losing Myslinski and Fisher and, you know, some real quality guys that have been with you for a long time, plus Kelly. The coaching staff's going to have their work cut out for them, fielding a team next year.
Well, they're helping Casey Rogers off the field. He's a senior, too. Let's hope he'll be okay. By the way, our job made easier every year in coverage of SEC football by the sports information directors, unheralded as they may be. We'd like to publicly thank them all for the job they do in helping us with our information. Second down, 3 from the 40. Hand off to Dale C., the senior fullback. Almost no gain at all on that play. It'll bring up third down.
You know, one of the things that hurts Kentucky now is with losing Pookie Jones, they really lose mobility at the quarterback position, and you have to have mobility against Tennessee. You just can't sit back there in the pocket. That pocket has to be moving. It's just too tough of an assignment for that offensive line to sit there and defend that.
There's that tape around the right thumb of Pookie Jones. They say he's questionable. They also said Neil Clark wouldn't be back. He came back. Pookie looks like he wants to get back in there, too. We'll see. This is Carlos Collins. First down, Kentucky. Tom Fuller with a stop for Tennessee. Kentucky has rushed for only 48 yards on the day. Tennessee has rushed for 150. Clock running with 1:15 remaining in the third quarter from Commonwealth Stadium. Our last regular season telecast here on TBS. Next week's Tennessee Vanderbilt game to be carried on our sister regional network, Sports South. Hockman. Was that ball tipped? Whatever the case, it falls incomplete. Tried to throw it to Dale C. out on the right. Mims may have got his hand up there.
He had 8 passes broken up last year, and so he does a good job of that. Being an old basketball player, he can really get off the ground. Tremendous athletic ability.
Second down, 10. Kentucky from the 46, trailing 16-0. Inside a minute remaining in the third quarter. Back to the line of scrimmage, if that. Carlos Collins may have lost half a yard.
All man-to-man there. That time Larry Lacewell decided to buckle it up and come after him. Came with the blitz, and it was successful. Now third and long as Kentucky sends 3 wide receivers out to their right.
Son Neil Clark so far out. He's over there behind the other players. Hockman. Going to have to try to run it. Look at his speed. I think he was motivated by fear. At least I would have been. Hockman picks up a big first down for Kentucky. He goes out of bounds at the 26. He runs for 28 yards. That's more than half of what Kentucky had gained all day so far.
Forced up into the pocket. It just opened up. And Hockman starts to leg it now, and I think you're right, Bob. You can hear Walker coming from behind him, sees Carter coming from the side. He just probably as fast as he's ever run.
First down 10. Just outside the 25. Kentucky trailing 16-0. Hockman gets it to Kurt Johnson. Kurt Johnson on the reverse. Has some blocking. Johnson to the 12-yard line. First down, Kentucky. With 1 second remaining in the third quarter, a gain of 13 yards.
Well, actually, the reverse didn't work.
That's right.
Chuck Smith out there to make the play. Let's watch Kurt Johnson here. He's coming the other way. They toss it to Rudolph, and Johnson intercepts and beats the tackle of Chuck Smith. You know, David and Goliath in that encounter, and Johnson takes it down to the 12-yard line.
After they set the sticks, start the clock, that ends the third quarter. They make the long jog down to the other end. Kentucky threatening. If you're a Kentucky fan, you know who this man is. Kaywood Ledford, broadcasting his last Kentucky Wildcat football game today. A tremendous gentleman, excellent broadcaster. We salute him, and here's how he sounded.
Retreats. Tennessee trying to rush him hard. He steps up in the pocket. Now he's running out of there. He's at the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30. Hit and ridden out of bounds.
Kaywood Ledford, a legend here in Lexington and Bluegrass country. He'll, of course, finish out the season doing Wildcat basketball, but this is the last football broadcast of the career of Kaywood Ledford. Kentucky threatening first down 10 at the 13 of Tennessee. Rudolph gets a yard, if that. Excellent penetration again by the Tennessee defense. Chuck Smith leading the way again. Statistics in the third quarter. Turnovers a big problem for Kentucky today. 3 of them.
Down here, Bob, they like the shovel pass, and they
complete to Neil Clark. He is close to the first down. Let's see where they spot him out of bounds. You see about the 3.5-yard line. Floyd Miley was covering. It's a hip pointer and all. Neil Clark steps in to make his first reception of the day, and it was a big one. He's out of bounds about a half-yard short of the first down.
And Neil Clark is finishing his career here at Kentucky in the fashion that he's conducted himself throughout his career. Now he's fighting off pain and doing whatever he can do to help. He just needed 18 yards today to pass Joker Phillips, who's his coach, in terms of passing yardage accumulated in a single season.
Power formation for the Wildcats. Third down, half a yard. Samuels got the first down. They stopped him down near the 1-yard line, but it'll be first down, goal, Kentucky. And listen, Tennessee's leading only 16-0 with 14:12 to go. Florida led Kentucky 28-3 last week, and Kentucky came back to within 28-26. They've got another comeback starting here. So they'll get 4 cracks and across the end zone line. Power formation. Harris, C. Walker in the background. They like Walker here. He's got it. Touchdown, Kentucky.
Side behind Greg Lahr. Let's watch it happen. Number 52, Wesley Jackson firing off, and it's Mark Askin in there. moving people out of the way.
Point after is good. It's a 9-point game, 16-7 Tennessee. 13:50 to go. That was Walker's 6th touchdown of the year. George Blanda, great player at Kentucky, went on to play in the NFL, Chicago and Houston, among other stops.
Kentucky's been good to the Miami Dolphins. They have Mark Higgs now, Mark Logan. Back in my day, Larry Seipel. Of course, Howard Schnellenberger was a coach there. Irv Goody.
Pelfrey drills it deep. Carter at the 3. Out to the 35-yard line. Carter with tremendous acceleration.
Set a school record against Notre Dame 2 weeks ago. 154 yards in kickoff returns.
Averages about 23 a return. That time 33. Out to the 35-yard line. And Johnny Majors knows he's got a game on his hands here.
You know, and the key to the turnaround against Florida last week was the defense's ability to stop the Gators on 6 consecutive possessions. They got some turnovers. Now, they'll have to do that again here this afternoon.
Kelly on the rollout. Intended for McCleskey at the 41. They say he made the reception. Yes, it is complete. Kentucky scoring drive, 80 yards, 12 plays, in 3 minutes 53. Key play there, no question about it, the Ryan Hockman run.
That's like an Earl Morrall scramble. You know, it's not something that you expect, but you're glad when it happened.
On 2nd down 4. Tennessee first down, James Stewart near the 50. Salim Shaheed makes the stop from the rover spot. Next week, you'll get to see Tennessee again if your cable company carries Sports South. Vanderbilt at Tennessee. That's at 12:30 Eastern Time. Ought to be a good game. Vanderbilt, the last time we saw them, really cranked up. They've won 4 in a row. And that game is always, obviously, a rivalry game. Last regular season game of the year. It's at Knoxville. Stewart tries the right side, about 3 yards. Mississippi State with a early lead over Ole Miss. Game being played in Starkville. North Carolina hammering Duke.
Here's an interesting stat. That the Volunteers are 26-1 in November since 1984. I mean, they finish strong.
On the 2nd down, Kelly to the air. McCleskey hit at the 40. Got the first down. Adrian Sherwood made the tackle. Just inside 12 minutes remaining in this game.
Adrian Sherwood.
Well, they're spreading the secondary from sideline to sideline. The route they're running now is, you know, a route that is a fairly common route, but one that Florida loves to use. They just sit somebody out there in the flat, run somebody on a corner route about 15 yards deep, and give that cornerback a decision to make. Is he going to help underneath, or is he going to sit on the short man?
Give it to the fullback, Mario Brunson, to the 34. Talk about Kentucky having only 1 loss in November since 1984. Guess who the team was? Tennessee, excuse me. Guess who beat them?
Did Kentucky beat them?
Exactly. 1984 at Knoxville. This will be 2nd down, about 4 for the Volunteers. Kentucky's problem, obviously, here is they got the touchdown, pulled to within 9, but now to stop Tennessee. Balls keep it on the ground. James Stewart. Short of the first down, but it'll be 3rd and probably less than a yard.
Kentucky trying to suck it up on defense, playing without their 2 most talented players, at least, Brad Armstead and Dean Wells. Jerry Bell, they're bringing in another down lineman. Throwing 5 defensive linemen here.
3rd and 1 at the 31. Brunson doesn't get there. He was submarined by Damon Betts, 99, and Kentucky once again holds. Let's see where they spot it. They move it back about a yard. It'll be 4th and about 2.
Great penetration by Jerry Bell. Deuce Williams is there to close it, and Tennessee's going to call for a timeout. They want to talk over play selection now on 4th down. It's 4th and a long one.
And it would be about a 48-yard field goal attempt if they wanted to try it into the wind. It'll be 4th and about 2. Tennessee's going for it.
Against Notre Dame, Bob, in short yardage situations, they like the left side. Well, they like Myslinski and Daphne. They've also liked the option in this situation.
They'll have to cross the 30 and a little more to get it. Brunson, I don't think he got there. Let's watch where they spot his second effort. It looks like Kentucky holds on 4th down. Listen to this crowd.
Look like Joey Couch underneath. There's Larry New on the sideline. That's what he liked to see. A big play. Bro, can we see that again? Rowan Backfish, our producer.
There's Mark Adams, who was shaken up on the play, the tight end for Tennessee.
Let's see it again. We can slow it down a little bit here. Couch goes in between the guard and center gap. Grabs a hold of the leg, knocks him off his feet. Bean there, and everybody else with the blue jersey. Marty Moore closing it down. Those are the big plays that you're looking for.
Looks like the right leg of Mark Adams. He'll come off for Tennessee. Hope that young man will be all right. Putting no weight on the right leg at all. See if we can spot what happened to Mark Adams.
Looks like Damon Betts got a good piece of that too, getting into it.
On the 1st down, Hockman under pressure. Completes the pass. It came loose. They'll wave it incomplete. Rudolph, the intended receiver.
Well, Kentucky trying to catch Tennessee in a blitz, just as Tennessee caught Notre Dame in a blitz at the end of their game, and they were able to chop down the man that had the blitz coverage and get into the end zone. Looking for a big play. The biggest play so far in offense that they've been able to produce is a scramble by Ryan Hockman.
2nd down, 10. There's that shovel pass to Rudolph. 1st down, penalty marker down. That'll probably come back. Holding Kentucky. Big penalty there.
Maybe it's the stadium. We saw Jerry Claiborne get more anti-home team calls here in our last 10 years than we've ever seen anyplace else.
So they move it back to the 20-yard line, just outside the 20. 2nd down, 20 from the 20. Tennessee leading 16-7. 9:49 remaining in this ball game. Tennessee doesn't, of course, want to use their timeouts. They have 1 left. Kentucky has all 3. Penalties hurting Kentucky today, not usually the case. Bachman comes that pressure. Incomplete. Short hopped it, intended for Troy Hobbs. Was Troy Hobbs the name of the guy in The Natural?
Yes, I think it was. Was it? Yeah, it was.
It was Hobbs, wasn't it? Hobbs?
It was Hobbs.
Well, for whatever. Indiana clobbering Purdue there, as we continue to show Tim's alma mater getting drilled. What are they, you got to get up there and straighten that stuff out at Purdue. You got to get them winning again.
They've got a good guy in there now, and just like any place, it's going to take them a little time.
3rd down 20. So you're an understanding alumnus.
Yeah.
Hockman flushed from the pocket. Throws on the run. Incomplete. Almost picked off by Floyd Miley. So that'll bring up 4th down. Kentucky will have to punt the ball away.
Miley, of course, is the volunteer that took a blocked field goal 85 yards against Notre Dame. Nice throw by Hockman. Throws it up over the top. He's trying to get it in there to Kirk Johnson. Miley reacts and almost makes the interception.
Hawk averaging 54 yards a punt today. He'll get pretty good carry on this, too, with the wind at its back. It takes the Kentucky bounce. It's going to get down there at the 20-yard line. That was a punt of 60 yards for Hawk today. Wind aided. 9:02 to go in the game. First down 10, Tennessee from their 20. 9 minutes to go in the game. Tennessee want to run clock. Stewart takes a pretty good lick there about the 25-yard line. Stewart with 122 yards rushing.
Well, once again, Tennessee has done a wonderful job at recruiting running backs, and they got a couple of guys that are going to keep their ground game productive for the next few years.
That's 2 weeks' work, 337 yards. Into the backfield. Excellent penetration right up the middle. That was Joey Couch. Well, he's finishing his career on a high note.
Well, his whole career has been on a high note. Watch him as he slants down to the inside, beats the block of the Tennessee tackle, and wraps up the big man. Johnny Majors, that anxious coach's look on his face, knowing that this game is not over yet.
This is 3rd down and 6. Kelly on the run. It is complete for the first down at the 32-yard line to J.J. McCleskey. Kelly with a beautiful low throw over there. McCleskey wisely going down to cushion that catch and pick up the first down.
Old J.J., a converted tailback and defensive back, had 29 catches coming into this game. And he did a marvelous job keeping this ball off the ground. Kelly on the move, lets it go. It starts to wobble on him a little bit. McCleskey pulls it down.
Tennessee wanting to run some more clock, wanting to gain some yardage on the ground, and they give it to Stewart. To the 46-yard line, another first down. 22 yards on that one. Stewart has 144 today.
Bernard Daphne, number 75, has Couch slanting to the inside. Williams misses. Moore in hot pursuit. Robinson does a fine job of fighting off McCleskey to make the tackle. Bernard Daphne, a diminutive lad at 310 pounds.
Clock ticking, under 7 minutes to go. Stewart tries the right side. Stops for a loss on this carry. Zane Bean, number 59. He's played a good game over there at the strike position, which is basically the defensive left end. And he's playing in place of the injured Dean Wells. Done a good job filling in today. And Bill Curry has filled in for somebody in about every game. Well, the battle in Mississippi. Jackie Sherrill's team leading at this point.
Wouldn't surprise me to see Joey Couch back here as an assistant coach or a graduate assistant next year. Got Joker Phillips on the staff now. Joey would be a good teacher.
2nd down, 11. Kelly wants to take it deep, looking for Pickens. Incomplete down the right sideline. Adrian Sherwood covering on the play.
It's one thing that Kentucky has done effectively. One of the things Kentucky has done effectively this afternoon is take the big play away from Carl Pickens. They've tried it a couple of times down that sideline, and Sherwood has been up to the task. sophomore from Texas City, Texas.
They've allowed Pickens 5 catches, but only about 7 yards a catch. This is 3rd down 11 for the Volunteers. They'll run it on 3rd down 11 and not get it. Stewart is stopped at the 41-yard line, and Tennessee will have to give up the ball with 6 minutes to go in the game, leading by 9. Hutton will be punting into the wind.
Good defense by Kentucky, and Kentucky's blocked 4 kicks this year too. Couch blocked 1, Wells, Hall, and Cannon. They got 1 last week against Florida.
The coverage set up this time. That was a bad punt by Hutton. Let's see what kind of bounce it gets. It goes out of bounds. They'll walk it up field here. He might have gotten it inside the 20. He did, to the 17. That's where Kentucky will go on offense. Well, the Kentucky band is still enthusiastic, and right they should be. Tennessee's leading it by 9. Wildcats ball. 1st down 10 from their 17. Can Ryan Hockman bring them back? That's complete to Carlos Collins, and out of bounds at the 24. Penalty marker is down at the line of scrimmage. However,
well, this is the kind of situation that defensive line from Tennessee loves. They feel like Kentucky has to throw the ball to get back in it, and they are going to lay their ears back.
illegal procedure against Kentucky. 5-yard penalty.
Illegal procedure against the offense. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. Repeat, 1st down.
Moved back to the 12-yard line for the 1st down play. 5:26 remaining in the game. Kentucky down by 9.
Well, that hurts now. Instead of 2nd and 1, you've got 1st and 15.
On the draw to Samuels. Out to the original line of scrimmage, or near there, tripped up by Sean Walker. So it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Sean Walker from College Park, Georgia. He has struggled for the last couple of years with injuries. A smaller player that just is a hard worker and a good sense of where the ball's going to be. He fights off the block of Shane King and gets there, and he's struggled with ankle and knee injuries all year long.
Incomplete at the 21-yard line, intended for Collins. Hockman threw it too low that time. Hockman 5 of 12 passing since replacing Pookie Jones, who injured his right thumb, the Kentucky quarterback. I guess with just under 5 minutes remaining in the game, would you say that no, Kentucky will probably have to punt it if they don't convert here?
I would think so, especially based on their field position.
Hockman under a lot of pressure. Now they've really got to punt it. He's down at the 8. Chuck Smith. That's his 2nd sack today. That'll give him 10 on the year.
There aren't a lot of teams that consistently keep that defensive line out when you know it's a passing situation, a must-pass situation.
Hawk has the wind to his back. Carter's out here at midfield. Gonna let it bounce. And a pretty good roll again back to the 31-yard line. Well, Bill Hawk is going to jack up his average in his last game. Senior punter here. That one was 61 yards. Tennessee 16, Kentucky 7 with 4:07 to go in the game, and Tennessee will have the ball at their own 31-yard line. Look at Ricky Lassiter, our end zone cameraman, as the cold front moves in. Our TBS sports crew, I know you hear it from all the telecasters, but we think they're the very best, bar none. There's Henry Matthews.
Henri.
Chris Rakoff. Well, you know, you could turn that camera a little left, Chris, and show Tiffany there. You wanted to. I'm trying to direct. Tom Smith will be unplugging my microphone momentarily. Aaron Hayden with the carry. for the Tennessee Volunteers. Tom Smith, our director, as he has been for many years, been with Tim and I on most of our telecasts since we began college
football. Over the last 10 years.
A decade ago. Rowan Backfish, our producer. And Kentucky gets the timeout. Too many of our crew to name everybody. Mike Snyder. And
a much more disciplined crew than we had when we started out, too, wouldn't you say? Especially socially.
Exactly. We were. Some towns will never be the same again. Jeannie Anderson on camera. A decade of broadcasting college football. Tim, I could name a lot of people, ranging from Ted Turner for signing college football to Don McGuire, our boss. But the man who's been most important is Josh Marks, who's right down near us here on the level. The man who's been most important to my career in college football has been you.
We certainly have had fun together. I always look forward to spending time with you during the fall.
On 2nd and 10, Kelly hits McCluskey at the 36. Stayed in bounds. Almost up to the 40-yard line, then went out of bounds with 3:45 remaining.
And it's so nice that your career has skyrocketed since our association began.
You've been getting the
jumping all over the country with the NBA and Doug Collins.
I've been sending you a check on your percentage.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. We have had a good time. There we are.
There, thank you, Chris. See, if you ask.
Look at Bob's lips are turning blue. He's a real professional. There's Alex Figueroa is on the left there. Kim, our statistician. Kim Anderson, our spotter.
My mother sees me without a coat in this. She'll be headed here on a bus.
It may start snowing here in a minute.
It's supposed to snow here tomorrow.
I'd say 10 minutes.
As you see that sign, time for basketball season, Big Blue. Well, the Wildcats were 4th ranked in the country when they were hammered by Pittsburgh last night in front of 22,000 plus.
There's Grandpa.
On 4th down, Tennessee will punt it away. We still have another telecast remaining. Tim and I and Rowan and Tom and the crew, and that'll be the Gator Bowl on December 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday night from Jacksonville, Virginia. Plus is either Oklahoma, Nebraska, or Colorado out of the Big 8, depending on who beats who in the next 2 weeks. You saw that Colorado, by the way, was losing to Iowa State today at the half. Bill Curry yesterday, Bill's dad was up watching practice yesterday. As I talked to Bill after their practice, he said sincerely, again, he never PRs us anyway, always shoots straight. He says, I really like the freshman and sophomore class that we have and a group of redshirt freshmen. And he feels that he's got things moving in the right way, talent-wise. Said it reminds him of his first year or two at Georgia Tech. People were going, you know, Georgia Tech these days against Georgia just can't get it going. Well, he got some guys in there named Swilling and other at Tech and had some pretty good seasons. He feels he's got that kind of thing going here. Kurt Johnson stopped in his tracks at the 30. 3 minutes remaining in this ball game. Tennessee leading at 16-7. Kentucky down 9 with 3 minutes to go. Kentucky has 2 timeouts remaining. They're at their own 31, first down. Underthrows Collins.
Tennessee in their secondary, they're rolling up on the weak side, and it's pretty much man-to-man with a little linebacker help on the strong side, trying to take away the middle from Neil Clark. He is the big play guy. He's the guy that made the catch against Cincinnati that worked them down into position to kick a field goal that won the game.
Down at the 20. You talk about physical strength. Todd Kelly just took the Kentucky offensive player right with him back there for the sack.
Todd Kelly out of Hampton, Virginia. he's been also, when Chuck Smith goes out, you get Todd Kelly. Right now, both of them are in there at the same time. They got the lethal weapon 4 in there now. Ryan Hockman over talking to Rick Rhodes, offensive coordinator at Kentucky.
See Colorado went back out in front of Iowa State. Virginia really hammering Virginia Tech today, 38-0. Virginia in the Gator Bowl. 3rd down and 21 it'll be for Kentucky. We were talking about the Gator Bowl. Virginia, and they're leading 38-0 today. They'll go to 8-2-1 on the season. And either Colorado, Nebraska, or Oklahoma. Colorado leading Iowa State by 3. Nebraska and Oklahoma play at Nebraska next week. Again in trouble back there. And down at the 13-yard line. Chuck Smith now has 11 sacks on the year.
Well, he said at the beginning of the year his goal was to get into double figures, double digit when it comes to sacks. The Tennessee record is held by Reggie White. That's 15. He had 8 coming into the game. And the great thing for, Smith got him from the backside after Kelly had flushed him out. The great thing for Smith is that, they can't really double him because they got all these other guys that are just as capable as Chuck Smith. I talked with Rex Norris, asked him which player was better, Chuck Smith or Chris Mims, and he said it's just hard to pick. It's just a coin toss. It's the same way in our all-SEC team. Talking to the defensive people at Florida. We picked Brad Culpepper, but they said that Tony McCoy had just as good a year. That's kind of a coin toss.
Kentucky going for it on 4th down and 28. 3 receivers out here to the bottom of your screen. Hockman heaves it up high and long. It's just going to be a jump ball, incomplete out at the 45-yard line. Tennessee with 2:26 and counting will take over there. Well, Johnny Major's teams had all they could handle with Kentucky today. Defensively, particularly, the Wildcats have played very well, but Kentucky could manage only 7 points offensively. And Tennessee may tack some more points up here, taking over at the 13-yard line of Kentucky. Tennessee will play in Knoxville next week against Vanderbilt. That game will be on our sister regional network, Sports South. Tennessee headed to the Fiesta Bowl to play Penn State. The 2 Notre Dame victors will match up against each other. Tennessee, of course, will just keep running it. Kentucky's out of timeouts. People heading for the exits. And Bill Curry looks on for another loss. It'll be 3-8 for the Wildcats this year, and it has been a year of young players, and in terms of winning and losing this year, a ton of injuries. Now, Bill Curry would be the last one to use those as excuses, but it is a fact of life, and there have been, well, a whole page full of injuries, as Joey Howard, the Kentucky Sports Information Director, gave us this afternoon. Mario Brunson down to the 5-yard line with 1:30.
It should be an exciting game out in Arizona. Tennessee and Penn State. Penn State looking extremely strong here later in the year. Handling Notre Dame with the pretty much ease.
1:19 and counting. Johnny Majors talking to his field goal kicker there. It's 3rd down and 2. Aaron Hayden struggling to about the 2.5-yard line. He may have picked up the 1st down with under a minute to go in this ball game. It'll be close to it. No, but not 1st down. It'll be 4th down. And Tennessee Tennessee and Johnny Majors just running out the clock here. Tennessee's record will climb to 8-2, and they'll go to 4-2 in the Southeastern Conference.
15 seconds on the play clock. 23 seconds, 22 seconds on the game clock.
Hayden doesn't get into the end zone. That was 4th down, and Johnny Majors gentlemanly running the ball, and that'll run the clock out as soon as they turn the ball over here. That was on 4th down, so Kentucky will have only one left. Rex Norris and Johnny Majors congratulating each other on the victory, as Johnny does likewise to his players.
John Chavis there with the mustache and linebacker coach.
And that's going to do it. Tennessee gets the win, 16-7 here at Commonwealth Stadium. We'll be back with final comments right after this.